All right, great. Thank you. Um, yeah, I just started the recording. This will be posted to YouTube, and I'll be redacting anything that anybody asks to have pulled out. And Chris has just posted the Google Docs, which is great. Thank you. You're taking some notes.
I will, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Casey and Chris, for being here. Um, what I wanted to go over today is um, just sort of give a brief update on where things stand on my side, what I've been doing, and if there's any noteworthy developments that you know about to get those shared also, and then go through you know some of the things that are important for kind of getting this work over the line and making it into something that changes the internet the way we hope it will. Um, and just seeing if there's any um, comments, feedback, and offering to I'm nobody's boss or anything. I'm not handing out tasks, but I am looking to enable anyone who wants to contribute to enable to contribute effectively. And so I was offering to set something up and get together to push this forward in whatever kind of areas you think you'd like to spend time at. I put together a list that was in the email. I don't know if you got a chance to go through it, but we go through some of those things, look over any questions, and uh, just kind of get organized about how to bring this forward and see if there's anything we can do about it. Anything anybody wants to add to that? Hearing none, I guess we'll move on. Um, so um, I this at the last meeting we had a bunch of talks. We did. Sam was here and Kyle, and we talked a bunch about the BBC's quick implementation that has multicast HTTP transport. It had been my intent to spend some cycles trying to bring that up in lab to just kick it around a little bit by this month. That got postponed due to just some internal stuff that I've been doing. It is multicast related. I'm trying to get a better handle on like what does our offload look like because we need to get that done for executives to make decisions and stuff. What are we going to be achieving if we do it, and how can we model it? So, so that has come along okay. I'm hoping that I can lay it down and get back to the standards-based work within the next week, but we will see. And yeah, outside that, I guess I wouldn't say there's been a whole lot of progress. Uh, we we did post the security considerations doc to to the dispatch list, the sec dispatch list at IETF. Haven't heard much. I don't think anybody's responded to it yet. We did get an offline comment, um, you know, a pre-review on that from uh, just saying that expert opinion was this is in decent shape to get reviewed there, but we have to get people interested in what to do. Um, so mostly it hasn't moved very much. The people who are looking at it are still looking at it, and we're trying to figure out if this is really going to get over the line in terms of being worth investing in for everyone. Um, so uh, Any Internet 2 updates there, Casey, that you're aware of? We missed the meeting last time. Um,
The, the current state of that I'm aware of, I believe maybe from 2 meetings ago also. Basically, it looks, I can't tell you what their final decision will be or is, but it looks like the direction they're heading is that those who want to participate in um, multicast transmissions on the Internet 2 backbone will do it through an L3 VPN layer on top of the backbone. It will be opt-in, not automatic. Um, so if a multicast is important enough to you that you want to keep participating, you will opt in and build some VLANs and a you know layer 3 BGP sessions to that new overlay, and it will be an opt-in sort of thing as opposed to it just being native on your existing peering session.
okay. Yeah, that's about the last I heard too. That makes good sense to me. I think it's a fine stopgap, and I'm grateful that they're keeping any
Yeah.
involvement at all, really.
Yeah, and it does sound, the last I heard, it does sound like Cisco is working on fixing whatever it is that prevents them from doing this natively on their peering sessions. And longer term, they may be able to roll this back into the native VLANs and peering sessions like they used to, but we don't have any timeline for that as far as I'm aware,
All right.
or, or concrete promises.
Right. Yeah,
This is one of these things we intend to integrate into the default feature set, but
got it.
I always
Yeah,
have some, uh, till I see it.
I understand. Yes, that makes good sense too. Gian has done some work. They are kind of standing up a similar kind of AMT relay-based system to export traffic, along with some more stuff that Lenny and some of the people there have put in into I2. So I think there's a similar kind of deal getting underway. They haven't started with the ingest work yet, um, but that's kind of on the table too. Great, welcome, Chris. Chris Leonard just joined.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries. Uh, all right, so we were just about to enter the goals and timelines discussion section here. Let's see, did everyone see that in the email and kind of get a chance to think about it at all, or does anyone want me to kind of go through the list that I've got?
Did not get a chance, so maybe that would be helpful to me at least. Just briefly, just to summarize.
Sure, I can actually paste the email into the notes if you like. I have it open here.
Right.
It's not particularly well formatted for Google Docs, I think, but there we have it. All right. The notes, if you wanted to follow along, is a link that Chris posted, but the other Chris just got here, so if you wanted to see it, there it is. Right, so I guess of these, the most urgent is probably the TPAC question. There was an interesting opportunity, I thought. I saw, I think it was Sudeep sent something in the network interest group, pointing to a they're collecting short videos as demos that would be you know available and reviewed by a bunch of people. So I think maybe maybe putting a demo together would be a good idea. I think that was just last night, if I remember right. So it's
Yeah,
new.
I saw that. Yeah.
Uh, uh, do you know what that program is? I wasn't clear if this is something particular to the networks stuff or whether it's
No, my understanding is that it's like an open invitation to any W3C group that's developed some technology that they would like to showcase or demo. Um, so my understanding is that these would be kind of all grouped together and then made available as a package. I would assume that W3C will create a website where you'll be able to view and uh, check out all of the demos that have been submitted. So I don't know much more than that. I don't know what specifically they've asked for in terms of how it would work, or like if there's a particular duration of video that they're
yeah, I looked at it last night. They said 2, maybe 3 minutes was their
okay.
target. So I think I will probably make a video like that. I don't know. I guess maybe I could send it out for a pre-review uh, to the list and see if anybody has any comments. If anyone, I'm guessing you guys. I don't know. Does anyone want to be involved in that, or be a YouTube star here? Um, I'm not set on making it myself, but I feel like it's possible, and I have a few things that I could probably do, um, including maybe like showing just doing a screen recording of like playing the video the way we've been playing it with a a Chromium fork, and just giving a little pitch for getting involved in the multicast community group. Um, I think the video is probably the best demo that I've got yet. Um, so getting that out there might be good. I have I was playing some Creative Commons content, so I probably just have to make sure it's properly showing the credits when I show it. I think there's some restrictions on that, but outside that, I think I can just let it run. Um, I have a few videos, I guess, but that's the one I would probably end up publishing. Um,
At least for me, it's socializing within the company, trying to gain support. I think that would be awesome if there were a video that kind of shows, like you said, one of the Chromium forks. We're joining a stream. If there's something in the background that kind of shows something else, like maybe some log on the AMT gateway server or something like that. Just whatever that shows that something's actually happening.
yeah,
That would be like a quick watch this however long video so you can actually see it in action. I know one of
yeah,
the things we talked about doing was setting up that demo in my lab. I still haven't done it. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I have like one of those deli ticket counters of things I'm trying to help people with in the lab, so it's just so hard to get to it. But if there were kind of like that demo that's just real quick showing exactly what's happening and that it actually works, then
yeah.
I think that would be a huge step, especially for me and other people who may not be able to do their own kind of demo with the prototype you have.
That's a good idea. Yeah, it's maybe something I should have done, a long time ago to just kind of show people what to expect and what the setup is. But yeah, I can certainly take one of my you know, local labs that has the ingest stuff that we've been working with ISPs on, and show a little bit of output from that, and show just what I usually use is like IFTop, where you can see you can see that I think it works off of like the PCAP stuff or something, but it just kind of keeps track of how much traffic is going to what addresses, and you set it monitoring on an interface. Then it has like it's all text based, but it has like a bar that goes across and shows how things change as it as the thing happens. So yeah, I guess this seems like it should fit in 2 minutes. Like you know, start watching the video, give a little talking about what's going on, and show the traffic changing as it plays. Yeah, that seems doable. All right, cool.
What about the API parts? I mean, W3C may be interested in
Yeah,
seeing something about some of your API ideas.
yeah, that's a good question. Okay, I should they have some guidelines on showing code. I mean, for 2 minutes it's just going to be a teaser, but I can certainly yeah, point to the API proposal location, and there's a demo page also that lets you just type stuff in, and that's probably a little easier to follow on the API because the video one is like a WebAssembly with hooks on the Multicast API. Because it's that was actually ported from our client library product, right? We have a sort of TV delivery system that uses this, and that's what I was running, you know, as the sender, and then the receiver is just like take that client library and build it under WebAssembly. So it's probably a little harder to follow, but and I'm also not quite sure if I'd have permission to show that code. It's technically confidential, I think, but yeah, uh, it's certainly doable. Okay, cool. I think that's probably that probably bumps my time spent on the quick work that I was hoping to get moving, because I think that's you know that part is the next most important development work, I think, um, because it's the sort of critical path in addressing the feedback we got about encryption, and and to a large extent also about object building within the API as opposed to just receiving packets. So my hope was to get that moving, but I do think it probably comes behind building engagement. And then yeah, the other big thing is like getting interest expressed on the security considerations document. I think that SecDispatch, I mean, they're all inherently busy people, and they like we brought something to SecDispatch a few years ago. This was a sort of earlier direction. We were talking about a authentication stream based on there was a paper about how you can sort of efficiently and in a loss tolerant way refer with crypto hashes to other packets in the packet stream, and then just be anchored by a signature every so often, an asymmetric signature. So it was a paper that's the Alta spec. It's kind of dead for now, at least. We think it's still probably a useful thing to do for ambi delivery, but it's not. But that's sort of a phase 2 thing if we get the rest of this moving. But at the time when we took it to SecDispatch, they basically said, you know, there were a few people expressing interest, but not enough. They said come back with more people. I kind of take the same answer on this one. We're going to have to get people to respond to that thread and say, or otherwise express in an IETF visible context that yeah, we would like the IETF to pin that down so that this can go forward. I think it's a blocker for really for W3C adoption, probably. Like there, that was the feedback I got from the Chromium NetDev people was you can't just experiment with this. You're going to have to have a consensus-based position on what the security model here looks like because it is different from TLS. And that's a heavy lift all by itself. TLS is anything that's not TLS is inherently tricky to get with the security. But it's not impossible. Like WebRTC had the same thing. This is the the point that Harold said. So we kind of tried to base it off of RFC 8826, which is the WebRTC security consideration stack. Just outline what those pieces look like. So yeah, I guess that's the second most important thing to me, probably. And I think the target timeline on that is really before the November IETF meeting. Like if we can get them to, to give it some serious thought in in IETF 112, then that's probably good enough. But just getting people to kind of highlight this as being important is probably a good step on that. And I think the ISPs, as well as like if there's any senders hoping to use it, like maybe BBC would want to comment here too. But just getting the people who stand to gain by having some of this multicast capability out there on the internet and in web browsers in particular. I guess these are the people I would rate most likely to comment. Until there's demonstrated interest. So let's see. I don't suppose anybody is interested in doing some hacking. I know everyone's busy. All right, not to worry, not to worry. I can do lots of hacking. But
What are you suggesting?
just getting some independent or I think there's a few things. There's like getting the Chromium build up, trying some of the quick work, like trying to build it, see if there's like I'm unfamiliar with that part, but Sam has offered to answer questions, and is looking to is being supportive of the idea. There's doing projects with the Multicast API, making something that runs in a browser, another kind of demo. There's integrating into the API, like trying to tighten up that the implementation in some ways. I think it's missing, it's still all very prototypey, and it doesn't have really the tests that I'd like it to have. It doesn't have, things like coverage reporting and fuzzing and inputs that there's like setting up adding something to the what's that test server that's used for the browser test suites. That's
Oh,
like a
the web platform tests.
yeah, the web platform tests.
Okay.
So like adding something that can support this API into that setup so that we can start, like this is this whole thing is not I mean, if we didn't get rejected on like your security design is not started yet, then we would have gotten rejected on like this is not in shape to fold into Chromium yet, I think. Um, you know, and just sort of getting over that hump is just there's a lot of work to do. So anyone who thinks that that would be interesting and a good use of time, I just want to get them involved and enabled as well as I can. Um, but if nobody that wants to do that made it to this meeting today besides me, then that's okay. We'll get there one day, maybe, hopefully. There's also other browsers. Like if anybody thinks, hey, Mozilla might be a better fit for this, then I would totally be willing to work on Firefox instead, and kind of or in addition, like bring up a fork there also. That would be neat. I haven't prioritized it, but I wouldn't be averse to carrying two different implementations on this, really. I just, I mostly am just begging for dev help and seeing if there's anybody I can,
Yeah.
encourage to join in.
Willing to
It's
throw
okay.
some time.
Huh?
Just not a, I would be willing to throw some time in, but I am just not a developer. I got almost no programming skills. I can build things from source, but once it's built, going back in and hacking things or reverse engineering them and figuring out what's going on is just not my skill set.
All right. You might be interested in setting up the same kind of ingest platform setup that I've got. This is the way I've been. I didn't put it here. It's not exactly like it's a little bit sideways to the um, web API parts, but it's not. Here, I'll put that in the chat, and I guess in the notes too is what I probably should be doing.
Yeah, if there's something we can throw on like the same Linux machine I'm using for the streaming or onto that MX router I'm using for relay that is
Yeah.
helpful.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that actually. That would be useful, I think. So what this would do is make it, if we can get it set up right, it would make it so that you can pull traffic uh, from off I2 in and then forward it from there.
Okay. Pull
Um,
non-multicast sources in and push them into the multicast domain.
so it's over AMT, so it's known, it's wrapped multicast. So you're getting multicast packets inside a UDP tunnel, just a one-for-one packet forwarding after outside of a little handshaking. So this is the thing that's on the table for Giant that hasn't been in Internet 2 yet. But I think that would make it so that for instance, I've got a downloader where it's sending out like I'm not even sure it's the latest anymore, but an Ubuntu desktop image
Hmm.
that's just and then there's a so you can run a downloader and that will pull in uh, it'll download this large file and you can we've been using this for the other testing stuff. Also the web pages that do the streaming would be
Okay.
something that someone could join and watch.
Okay. All
Um,
right. Yeah, I'll look at the GitHub link and take a look at that. And if I've got questions, I'll hit you up in Slack or
okay,
something.
cool, yeah. That'd be really neat. There's one thing for the way I2 is running because um, this was kind of envisioned as I guess I would say it's more designed the way eyeball networks are. Uh, you know, to resend it into the rest of I2 the way you're doing with like your own source traffic. It'll need to either have uh, a sort of um, what blessed sources would need a route so that the RPF comes back to your ingest point. So that sources that you want to pull in would be something that you'd advertise as send your RPF here, and then I'll be forwarding traffic. Or you would be or you would need basically a default uh, for multicast traffic, like in the I assume that's going to be easier as from your side as doing a source route.
Right. Okay.
We'll work out how to do that, whether it should be
Yeah.
like a peering or what exactly. But
Okay.
all right, yeah, thanks. That's another thing that's been on my plate for a while. It's a little bit sideways to the web API stuff, I think, but it is another piece of this. Getting some traffic on that. That part also is pretty prototypey, by the way. Like it does run and it works, but it doesn't have basics like auto updating, and it's it's just a sort of like you set it up and maybe it'll break after a little while and we'll need to go
Yeah.
hack on it or something, right? So as long as you're okay with that, that's just where it is right now.
It's precisely how we consider our AMT stuff right now, kind of prototypey.
Yeah,
We're good with
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's one of those phases you got to get through.
Right.
Um, all right, cool. Um, let's see. Is there anything else we should kind of get into? Um, yeah, I guess would anyone be willing to chime in on the IETF SIC dispatch list and express interest? Like, or are there blockers to doing and is there anything we can do to kind of get through those blockers or any assistance that would make it easier? If
I,
you,
I think from my point of view, I would leave that to Sam and Richard to do, but I can certainly let them know, and unless you've mentioned it to them already.
I don't think I have this explicitly, but it's been up for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure. Um, yeah, I could, yeah, if they if you get an opinion from them, that'd be good to know. Yeah, I'd appreciate the touching base on that.
Okay.
Chris, is that the kind of thing you would be able to do, or is there like you're not sure you want to? I don't know.
For sector dispatch specifically?
Yeah, just on IETF lists. I mean, I'm not, if you don't want to, that's fine. Or if there's anything blocking, I'm just wondering if there's anything like, uh, you know, if I feel like if I could get more interested networks to just express interest, then it would help convince the ISPs that or not the ISPs, the security experts that this is worth bothering to read, you know. Um,
Yeah, but it's something I can do. I'm not as big of a security expert, so I just want to make sure I vet it to make sure that I agree with everything. Or, if you think that at this stage it's mostly just trying to say, hey, we should look into this, then, that's something that's easier for me to do, just to reply to a mailing list saying I'd like to see this developed or something like that.
yeah, that's really all I was hoping for. Like sec dispatches for, the this is where the security experts monitor what needs IETF investment in the security area. And so you know, there's a sort of like when someone has a security related proposal that they would like to do IETF work with, then that's kind of the entry point for where people try to find a venue for it. So in that sense,
And this is related
yeah, I'm
to
not asking you.
the part where it's either authenticated or encrypted. That was
Yeah.
kind of the gap that I think I remember reading about.
Yep. That's a big part of it is analyzing like what the differences are. So the document that we're trying to get some traction on is about analyzing what the sort of differences are between regular web traffic and multicast based web traffic, and explore and explain the different security considerations that you need to make use of in order for that to be safe for users and operators. So
And
yep.
is it in parallel or related to I think it's the next bullet in your email, the Quick over HTTP? Because I think Quick also has mechanisms to provide something like this as well.
Yeah, I think we get into the so Quick has so the Quick implementation that's there, right? The NGHQ. Um, there is a encryption based on a symmetric key. So our position is that that's not sufficient because everybody has that key, so anybody can spoof that traffic. Um, However, anybody who does not have that key, it's not sufficient for authentication of the traffic because it's a symmetric key. And so for that reason, we that's why we've kind of separated the two, and we've actually so far have only talked about authentication, making sure that any traffic that does get delivered to end users, they can verify that it came from a specific source. Um, the some of the feedback we got was that, well, you probably should encrypt it as well. um, the encryption for multicast is inherently going to be like a little weaker than it is for unicast. And that's kind of the sort of issue that we get into in that security considerations doc. And this is where we, having written it up, now we want to get the expert review on it so that we can get like a well-considered IETF consensus that yeah, these are the sets of issues that need to be that need to be covered by implementations that are doing multicast for the web. So yeah, it's really just expressing. Yeah, getting back to your first question, that is what I'm asking for here is just I'm not asking you to be a security expert. I'm asking you to say that this is interesting, and because security, I'm hearing security is a blocker on this. We would like to see work happen on this, so that it can unblock the security needs.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'll ping you offline after this call just to go about the best way of doing that. Still kind of IETF newbie, so I just want to make sure I'm going through the correct path or channel or method or whatever in order to do that.
Yeah, that makes good sense. And like if it's just one person, then maybe it won't matter. But if we can coordinate, or it might not matter enough at least. But if we can coordinate several people to do it, then yeah, I would like to get everybody to do it, because I do think that's the kind of thing, just expressions of interest from people that would like to move this forward, or to see this move forward. Um, you know, like you don't have to have, okay, so you've got lots of traffic, but even people without lots of traffic can express this kind of support for getting some review on this, and getting, turning that into a real document. Like they make it as open as possible, but there's a lot of hoops to get through to to understand kind of how to engage with all these things. So yeah, that makes total sense. But I'll try and point you to any resources that you'd need, and yeah. And I don't know if you know anybody that might also be willing from other organizations, then that also could be useful. But I'll ask around. Maybe we could plan to you know to make a push by next month or so, to see if we can get enough people together to sort of get them all to chime in. See if it goes anywhere, you know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There was that kind of joint call we were having with Bell Canada as well that just hasn't happened yet. And I guess that's one of the things I can bring up as well if it happens in time, that here's a couple pillars of what we're doing, and also there's the security thing. If you're interested, then maybe reply just like you talked about for me. Yeah, ITF, just to say, yeah, we'd be interested in it.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And even promising to be interested in it. That might be, maybe you're interested if it gets anywhere, right? Or if traffic starts. But expressing that you'd like to see this happen, because you know uh, because of the potential for web traffic. Um, Even if you can't guarantee that you'd be deploying it in, you don't have timelines, or you're unwilling to say anything like that, then I think there's value even in just saying, uh, we don't know if we deploy it yet, but we would like to see enough forward progress that we can evaluate it successfully. Um,
Yeah, right. And I mean, I could even phrase, like we're definitely interested in deploying this, but regardless, we'd like to see any security concerns or enhancements or whatever evaluated.
yep, exactly. All right, cool. Well, then we'll try to make that happen too. I appreciate the help there. All right. And then yeah, if I do make any progress, then I'll give an update next month on where I got with Quick. But I'll probably put the the video demo. I'll send that out when I get there. I think the deadline was maybe a couple weeks, mid-September. So you might only have like a day or two to review it. um, but I'll send that out to the list when I have a proposed video ready. If anybody wants to be involved in that, let me know and I'll do what I can. But I'll plan to do that on my own and just ask you guys for comments. Anything else anybody wants to get into?
So on the TPAC question, are you thinking of having a meeting or just doing the video demo? Because
Yeah,
there is opportunity to have a group meeting should you if you want to.
that's a good point. If I had a group meeting, who would you guys come? Like, I've never been to a TPAC group meeting. I don't know what I would get out of it exactly. I think I should go to some of the meetings. But then, yeah, it's a good question. I was thinking maybe, yeah, maybe just if we ask for a 10-minute slot in each of web networks and web transport, and we could do a little pitch for, you know,
Mm.
hey, we're trying to get multicast to work. Come take a look. Maybe there'd be some people who are interested.
So the groups will be planning their TPAC meetings at the moment. So I would suggest if you want to do that, yeah, to contact the relevant group chairs as soon as you can. So the benefit of TPAC is that a lot of the sort of the browser developers and will make time to come to these meetings, and so it's a way maybe to get some broader input and broader visibility of what you're doing. I think like the regular scheduled meetings, you get the people who are kind of most interested and committed to the work, but because TPAC is kind of advertised quite widely, and you may find that you get a broader set of participants.
Okay.
So
maybe that's even more urgent than the video demo. Just ask. I guess, is that the right set to ask? The web network and web transport. Should should we do something in the video interest group, for example, or the media? I think we did something before, but like, are there people who haven't been paying attention who would benefit from an update? Browser vendors, like you're saying.
yeah, yeah. Um, not sure,
We
to be
can,
honest. I
well,
think
let me know. Let me, give it a little thought and let me know if you think it would be beneficial. Um, I think it's harder to tell a little bit, and it's not the focus of the API exactly to make it video specific.
mm,
But I think video is an important use case. So, I mean, video is an important use case for everybody, though, right? Like, how busy is your meetings going to be?
yeah. So in my group, we're just planning our own activities for TPAC. I think this year, because it's virtual, and because it's organized over 2 weeks. So there's basically 1 week that's dedicated to group meetings, and then there's another week which is for breakout sessions. And because then you have there's like a limited time window during the day when it's kind of suitable to have meetings. Then we'll so there may be fewer meetings overall than than when we're able to meet sort of face to face.
All right.
So I mean, that said, if you were to organize like a community group meeting, then that would become part of the overall schedule and agenda. And it
Yeah.
would be a it would be a kind of a headline item in its own right, and so may attract some attention that way. If you propose this like as an agenda item in one of those other group meetings, then it maybe has slightly like maybe it has a slightly different emphasis. Like if you do a web transport, then like go into that with like, this is what we're doing and this is the integration points that we want to explore with web transport. Like I'm wondering kind of maybe that's the most useful thing to focus on, rather than like a general like introduction to this is the problem area we're working in and this is what we're trying to do. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of up to whether you feel that that's a more useful thing to do because it's more focused.
That's a good question. So I guess there's two pieces of that. One is that, yeah, I was thinking it would make good sense to make this regular meeting, instead of being the first Wednesday of November, be a week earlier, which is during the TPAC breakout sessions. And so to do this regular monthly meeting as a TPAC breakout session, and to, in the meantime, maybe also while it's there, try and get a little more, try and get a few more people from these other groups where there's potentially a bit of overlap. And in that sense, to give them, a brief taste, ideally before our breakout session, so that if they're interested, they can find the time and join. A few days later or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that could work well actually, because the breakout sessions are generally intended to be for topics that are kind of a bit more exploratory, and for people to talk about things that are not like regular work items in a particular working group.
I see.
And so yeah, that I think that could work quite well. So the hope would be that a TPAC meeting would, it could be like, this is your regular meeting, perhaps with a bit more introduction, because if you've got some new people there.
That's kind of what I was.
But then it's continue with your your regular agenda.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, in terms of the media interest group, we're planning a couple of sessions, and so it could be possible. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything fixed yet, but we could certainly include like an update, an update as part of the agenda on that, I think.
Okay, then we'll connect and check about that. I think I may have had more exposure in the media group than the other two. So if it's just about getting a few new people to look, then I don't know. We could look at yeah. I could go either way on that,
Okay,
but
let's
but
follow up
great.
then, I
Thanks.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll follow up. Okay, so we are over time. I'm late to my next meeting.
Sorry.
So I'd like to wrap this up, but please do let me know if there's any part of what was said here that you'd like redacted, and I will cut it out of the recording before posting it. And outside that, I will just send an update when it is posted. I guess maybe I'll send a private link to the private list before it goes public and give people just a brief grace period to check it out first. But I haven't really established a process yet. So any feedback on that, let me know also.
That makes sense. I think I think what you've just described makes sense. So.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for coming. I think this was really helpful. Any closing words? I got none either. Thank you very much, Chris, for taking notes. And I will see you all next month. Hopefully, a few more people make it next time too. Great. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.